off this impression Draco is afraid of his father, but it's a deleted scene. But sometimes ABC Family inserts it into the movie as an extended cut. It's kind of a mess. The point is just in the movies, because of these subtle changes, Lucius seems like a more threatening, violent man who can't keep his damn cane off Draco and Harry.
Don't boast, Draco. There's no need with these people. Do enjoy yourself, won't you? While you can.
Notably, though, this is not the last time movie Draco interacts with the cane.
Security.
What's his cane here, then? It's not a cane, you cretin, it's a walking stick.
Draco actually likes his dad's walking stick, enough to bring it with him to Hogwarts. He gets offended on its behalf when it's called the wrong thing. Perhaps because cane has violent connotations, or the offending connotations are that luscious Malfoy over here is actually a doddering old man with Wizard Bing Crosby on the radio, smoking out of a cornpipe. But the TLDL is, to Draco, this is not a strikey stick. It's a treasured object that reminds him of his father. Look, he looks at it tenderly. It's a memory stick. So I conclude that the story is not trying to tell us that Draco was physically abused, that this scene is trying to walk back the previous scenes, and since Narcissa is not really, ever around, Draco was probably not physically abused. Now let's cover emotional abuse by returning to that conversation in Borgin and Burke's. In this scene, 12-year-old Draco is whining to his father about how they let Harry on the Quidditch team and he's not even good, he's just famous. Lucius's dialogue makes it pretty clear that he's patient, but kinda sick of his son droning on about Harry Potter. He tells Draco that he thinks it's less than prudent to seem unfond of Harry Potter because to most people he's a hero that made the Dark Lord disappear. This is gonna be something that's more important later in the video, but that's major to me. He's not telling him don't fight with him, he's saying don't even let it be known that you don't like him. Which in the game that Lucius is playing, that's solid advice. If you're not a Death Eater, why do you hate Harry Potter so much? So I don't think Draco feels he can't disagree with his father because one of the main ways he disobeys his father throughout the story is antagonizing Harry. Now in real life, witnessing one positive interaction between a parent and a child doesn't disprove abuse, but when constructing a fictional narrative, when there are very few scenes of Draco talking with his parents, hints have to be dropped that there is some friction between them, but there isn't. Overall, Narcissa, who is rarely shown, seems like the ideal loving mother who would do anything for her son, and Lucius seems like the ideal loving father in the books, and a stricter, colder, but not necessarily abusive father in the movies. This leaves neglect. Draco's medical, educational, and physical needs are being met, so that leaves emotional needs. Draco's parents seem extremely supportive of him and affectionate with him. When Draco wants something, like to be on the Quidditch team, Lucius dumps money moving heaven and earth to get Draco what he wants and get him the proper equipment. In fact, Draco's parents don't even seem to be guilty of some of the more common practices of suboptimal parenting. For example, before Lucius goes to prison and Voldemort takes over Draco's life, Draco does not seem to be crushed under his parents' expectations. Draco seems to have authentically absorbed all of his parents' interests and values. At this point, I'm sure some of you might be like, well wait, isn't teaching him to be a bigot abusive in some way? Well, it's complicated for two reasons. So the first problem is to properly research this would take understanding the allegory in Harry Potter as a specific, well-thought-out allegory and researching the bigotry of that subject. I would have to come to an understanding about the psychological effect on real people taught those ideas as children, and then I'd have to translate that to the fictional character. If I had to pick what bigotry in particular blood supremacy is supposed to be a stand-in for, my mind would pick racism because of the fixation on blood purity and miscegenation.
It is Miss Burbage's belief that Muggles are not so different from us. She would, given her way, have us mate with them. To her, the mixture of magical and Muggle blood is not an abomination, but something to be encouraged.
The problem is the allegory is either not meant to be anything specific or it's just not well thought out. And it's the details of the Harry Potter universe itself that makes the commentary fall apart. For example, details like the existence of wizards spontaneously coming from non-magical families and vice versa, and the setting making it so that people who cannot do magic are almost not present in the story, and when they are, they're either annoying or fools. The second problem is once you consider how much goop is clogging the allegory, it just gets hard to take it seriously. You know, I take pride in what I do here, even when I'm covering children's literature or teen dramas. But I had this moment where I caught a glimpse of the abyss, you know, as you do, and I realized I was spending hours reading academic papers and books that contained pictures of dead bodies so that I could apply that knowledge to a Harry Potter video essay about Draco Sadboy. And it was at that moment that I realized any just society should banish me into the wilderness with a hatchet and half a Snickers bar. So here's my conclusion for this section of the video. I believe everything that happened between Harry and Draco was mostly Draco's choice. I think Draco dug that hole for himself every year with Harry, even though he was explicitly told by his father not to do this. It's so short-sighted of him. It's kind of the least Slytherin thing about Draco. If you see Draco as just a victim of circumstance abused by his parents, the fact that he doesn't have a redemption arc and that he never really stands up against Voldemort probably comes off as really weird. But I don't think that's the narrative's intention, and thus acting like Draco has no choice maybe misses the point. Harry, the protagonist of this story, was raised in an awful environment, but he's a very loving boy and he's very willing to forgive the world. He deeply cares for his friends, and he'll sacrifice a lot for others. He'll literally die for you. Draco would not have survived the events of the story if Harry wasn't this brave stand-up Gryffindor. The funny thing with the Malfoys is outside of the fact that the father is a high-ranking member of a terrorist cult, and the mother presumably supported that throughout their whole marriage, the Malfoys are rather unremarkable. They're just another rich family. Draco comes from a loving environment. He had a sheltered upbringing. And that should be a good thing, right? It should be good that nothing bad happened to Draco and he wasn't traumatized or abused. But the Malfoys only love each other and they only respect power. So, naturally, Draco doesn't know how to love and respect anything that isn't exactly like him. Like many fictional characters, from Nick Carraway to Holden Caulfield, Draco's name was carefully selected to hold meaning. According to WizardingWorld.com, Draco's last name, Malfoy, is Old French. It's a combination of the words mal, meaning bad or evil, and foy, meaning faith or trust. Taken literally, his last name means bad faith, bad trust, evil faith, or evil trust. Since French and English have roots in Latin, the prefix mal is quite intimidating, and it's in all kinds of spooky words, like the malice of an enemy, a malformed plan that goes horribly, or a malignant tumor. This makes mal a great mouth noise to insert into an antagonist's name, like Maleficent. According to the author, J.K. Rowling, Draco's first name comes from a constellation, as everybody notable on his mother's side of the family, the noble and most ancient House of Black, are named after something celestial. Draco is Latin for dragon. So the constellation is a dragon with a quadrilateral head and a long body and super short, stubby legs with pathetic legs. You can imagine it not as a thick European dragon, but one of those longer, snaky boys. And in some myths, it's interpreted not as a dragon at all, but as a snake or a sea serpent. This gives Draco a name with a connection to snakes without it being super on the nose like Snake-o Hiss Boy. I'd say eat your heart out, Werewolf McWerewolfington, but let's be real, the name Remus Lupin is really pretty and you're just jealous. Draco can be seen in the Northern Hemisphere all year round, but since it's so big, it's ironically difficult to make out. It is surrounded by more easily identifiable constellations with brighter stars, like Hercules and the Big and Little Dipper. Putting Draco's full name together reaps some interesting foreshadowing for his role in the story. One combination that catches my eye is Dragon Bad Faith. Now, as anyone who's watched any amount of reality television will tell you, there are two states of matter, real and fake. Draco Malfoy is like super effing fake. Calling Draco a bad faith dragon is kind of interesting. It foreshadows that the character doesn't quite meet the expectations for him to be something ferocious and deadly. When we talk about Deathly Hallows more in the final section, I'm going to talk about Draco's wand, or rather Harry having Draco's wand and using it to fight Voldemort, so let's get y'all wise and wicked learned on this trivia. The symbolism of Draco's wand is quite famous. When it was discovered that the wand's core is unicorn hair, fans everywhere went, "Aw, that's cool." Unicorn core wands are the hardest wands to turn to the dark side. The core of the wand can literally die, but unicorn hair is a core held by many characters throughout the story. The wood of the wand is not. Draco's wand is hawthorn wood. The entry on Hawthorne Wood was clearly written just for Draco, as he's the only character known to have one. The entry describes that it is a paradoxical tree. The leaves and blossoms heal, but reek of death. The wands are well suited to healing magic, but are adept at curses. The wand is prone to disastrous backfiring if handled poorly. Hawthorn trees themselves are beautiful trees with white blossoms. They grow their fruit in July, and the fruit is ripe by October. It's a tree with thorny branches that birds like to make their nests in. In Celtic folklore, it's a symbol of protection, love, and springtime, which is the season of rebirth. And you know, if anyone's in need of a rebirth, it's Draco, who seriously needs Wizard Jesus. So, trying to summarize the imagery here, I think the core of Draco's magic, its disposition, is something gentle being used for dark purposes. Under Voldemort's thumb, Draco slowly withers throughout his 6th year. He gets behind in homework, he plays sick so he doesn't have to attend Quidditch matches, all of his time goes into mending the Vanishing Cabinet. You know, even Draco's mission here reflects the duality that follows him around. He's bringing about destruction, a historical infiltration of Hogwarts, by mending something that's broken. Draco was bailed out by Snape at the last second, and he is not forced to kill Dumbledore. The question going into Deathly Hallows when it comes to Draco's storyline is how far can this go? You know, the old classic, can this sad boy really go full evil, or will he be redeemed? Whether or not Draco deserves a redemption arc is a hot topic for discussion, still debated to this day. Some people see Draco as a sensitive person, not really cut out for this, a bully and a bigot, but not quite at the level where he can kill and feel nothing. So they feel it's odd that he's allowed to live and crawl away and lick his wounds without doing anything big. There's different reasons people feel this way. Some people feel that it just seems incomplete or unresolved. Other people are very attached to Draco, and so they feel that he was cheated. Also, some people just think Tom Felton's hot, and they hate seeing him cry, and they want to see him be happy, and it's kind of a boring answer, but it is an answer, and it's kind of the answer Rowling defers to. And you know, I could spin this lovely web about how people relate to the emotions in characters, not so much literally, but almost like the shadow of the emotion they cast. Maybe you don't know what it's like to be a brainwashed, blood racist bully, but maybe you understand the emotions of feeling trapped, like you dug yourself into a hole that you can't get out of. But you know what? I've met the Harry Potter fan base, and Draco is basically between Tyler Durden and Rick Sanchez in terms of how well the average audience member seems to understand this character. Draco is definitely a cool, confident bad boy and not a fundamentally insecure, attention-seeking coward who immediately rolls over to any authority figure he thinks is of note. Now, I think some of you will be like, heck yeah, stick it to all those stupid teens getting into Harry Potter. Oh no, we're not doing that. That's boring.
Listen to me. All you people who are making and watching those Gotcha Life Harry Potter videos, I see you out there. Putting up thousands and thousands of views. You're still too weak. If their secret's strong enough, you're not willing to engage with the character as it was written. But you know what? I don't care. See the pentagram? Look into the pentagram. Take a pact with me. Swear that you will post preach every day, and no one will be able to talk you out.
Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Draco's biggest act of defiance against Voldemort starts on page 458. This is when he pretends not to know who Harry, Ron, and Hermione are, which saves their life. But it is also, interestingly, as far as actions go, small and unheroic. In fact, in the movie, it's very unclear to me if Draco's even lying on purpose, so it's a good thing that they added this line in the confrontation in the Room of Hidden Things, where Harry confirms that this is what happened.
You knew it was me. You didn't say.
Now, in the movies, it was actually floated if Draco should have a bigger act of defiance against Voldemort. There is this footage of Draco running past Voldemort shouting, "Potter, going to throw Harry his wand." Someone on YouTube has actually edited a scene from Harry Potter to put this back into the movie, and it has over 3 million views. And the salt in this comment section, you know, I have sympathy, but it is delicious. I can't believe people would lie on the internet. Why are people just making stuff up in the comment section? Look at this comment. It has hundreds of upvotes. It's claiming Draco throws Harry his wand in the books. Oh, honey, no. Harry just takes Draco's wand. He steals 3 wands out of Draco's hand on page 474 and then hits Greyback with an epic triple wand stupefy. This is like the Tony Hawk Pro Skater combo move of owning dumb werewolves. What are you talking about, Ryan G? More like Lion Yee. got him. Also, I can't figure out if the fact that Harry becomes the owner of the Elder Wand and Draco's wand, a plot-crucial piece of information, not by disarming Draco with magic, but by disarming Draco literally by wrestling him, like a muggle. Like two siblings fighting over a toy. This is either a dumb skating of the universe's rules or genius. This book came out in 2007 and I still haven't decided. So, to fill you in, Voldy doesn't know it yet, but he's in trouble because the wand he's using during this final battle actually belongs to Harry. It was Dumbledore's, but Draco disarmed Dumbledore but didn't kill him, then Harry disarms Draco, therefore taking ownership of all of Draco's wands. So Harry has the Hawthorn wand that Draco's had for years and the Elder Wand. Now the Elder Wand is kind of fickle. You disarm its owner and it just becomes yours. It's not sentimental, it doesn't...
We should appreciate this brief moment of serenity. To resupply if I am to achieve victory. Demons burn. Many more will rise from ashes.
Double points.
Fortune smiles upon us. He is the movement. Generosity is rare. It should be treasured. Not worthy to touch the warrior. Your proximity offends me. You must have it this way. Dare touch Tahil.
Insta-kill.
I feel the power of my ancestors within me. I will not be so forgiving now, demons. You wish to fight without weapons? Like me, the spirits will show no mercy. Smell of burning demon flesh.